Welcome to the Disney Hour Express podcast. I'm Abbie.
And I'm Rob. We are two hopelessly romantic Disney enthusiasts.
Sharing fun stories, secret tips, and family travel experiences.
If you are a Disney newbie, or maybe a season pass holder, we hope you find this information helpful.
We turned our love of Disney into a unique boutique travel agency that books Disney and Universal vacations.
We've got a lot of stories, so cozy on up, choose your favorite drink,
whether that be a cocktail or a hot chocolate,
and enjoy the Disney Hour Express.
Hey, Potteteers. Welcome to episode 98 of the Disney Hour Express.
98, obviously 98 Degrees was your favorite boy band growing up. And what were you doing in 1998?
I was hanging out with a bunch of 8th graders.
Super cool.
Super cool. Probably driving my parents crazy with my tweenie behavior.
Yeah, you would have been a tween. You would have been a teen.
Teen, I guess. Yeah, you're a teen by your 8th grade, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oy, oy, oy.
Emo teen Abbie.
Yeah, wearing all like dark colors all the time.
Like I want to go to Disney World, but I want to wear black when I'm there.
I absolutely have those pictures.
Very pale. No.
Uh-huh.
You have a great complexion. So.
Anyways, What were you doing in 1998, Sir Rob?
I mean, I was in college, so yeah, it always feels creepy every time we talk about it.
It does.
This is my second year. I was a sophomore.
Oh, boy. I just can't. I can't. Well, in any case.
So. Yep.
I get it. So we have
quite the week. It's December 15th, so we're plugging along right into the holiday season.
I know it. And we kind of have this impromptu Christmas party we're throwing next weekend, which I didn't really realize we were going to do, and now we are, and we've got all the family coming over for brunch.
I mean,
yay!
It's like 4 people, but yes, it's a lot. Anyway.
It's like 5. Come on now. No, I'm excited. Yeah, I like to do the holidays as much as we can, so it'll be great, right?
Yes, that's true. Cool. And then, we throw in a couple of other real life things that you start dealing with, and it's just the craziness. We have, because we like putting a lot of pressure on ourselves, we've decided that it's a good time to, we need to replace Abbie's car. It's just, it's come to the point where...
I'm telling you, could we just put this at the best time of the year?
There's not enough going on, so let's do that. And we'll get to Disney stuff in a second, and we also have the secret word is coming later in the episode.
So hang tight for all of our babbling.
Anyone that's listening later on, but keep listening because you never know when I'm going to say it, but it's going to be later.
That's right.
In the episode, and they'll go over how to enter and all that stuff. So. We have started, we've been looking for a car. Started last weekend. It's been going all week. It's consumed a good amount of my time. For my job, if you're listening, earmuffs, I've been very unproductive this week. Not as productive as I could be. It's taking over. It's been a lot of phone calls, a lot of researching.
Yes.
A lot of this, a lot of that. Again, we're going to get to Disney stuff in a second, so just bear with me. But I think a lot of people have bought cars or going to buy cars, and we're all kind of that age. I've never experienced a car buying, I'm going to say experience again, but like this.
Right.
I normally lease vehicles. That's what I've always done in the past, but it was just because I was single and I was like, I don't want to deal with anything. I want a new car every 3 years. Buying a car, similar situation, but you still go through the same, rigmarole with the car dealers. And
listen, I mean, I've usually had a pretty easy experience. Like I see the car online and then I go and I buy the car. So, and I've had a few cars throughout the years. Same experience with all this one. It's not at all like that.
Except I like to get the better deal.
Yeah.
A lot of people walk in and be like, oh, all right, well, that's the price. Now you're going to charge me another $3,000 that I don't understand why. I don't think so.
And maybe that's me. Maybe I'm just like, that's the price. Does it fit in my budget?
That's
yes. And then we're done.
That's what a lot of people do. And that's kind of the way I think it's going to eventually go that way, where it's just going to be like, this is the price. This is what you're going to pay. There's no other extra
negotiations.
We had to clean the fee. We had to clean the car. So we're charging you an extra $1,200. This non-tax fee, and there's all these like little things that you keep coming up, and usually you're able to work through them, but it just seems like car dealers right now are not budging. Like they're just like, no, like this is our deal. So, right now we're dealing with CarMax. We found a car that we liked at a price that we liked, and you know what? It's pretty straightforward. They tell you what it is. You're going to pay this much. And if you go, our car is being shipped to us. And if we like the car, then we're going to take it. And
that's a totally different experience. I've never thought about really buying a car from another state or thinking that was a need. But I guess it is a need now.
It does happen. And like car dealerships do swap cars. So like,
make their inventory look different.
There's a car on their lot and they're trying to get another vehicle, and then they take like a package of vehicles onto their lot, and it's like this whole thing. I don't know.
That's crazy.
But anyway.
But yeah, I'm not a negotiator. So
gotcha.
That's hard for me.
I know. I got to check to see if if your car the prospective car that we're I wonder if it's ever driven through Radiator Springs.
I hope so, because I'd like to hear some stories about Radiator Springs for sure. We're talking about the Radiator Springs Racers over in California Adventure.
How do you like that segue? Huh?
I know. That was pretty classy. I liked it. So, I mean, I don't recall that I have been on this ride because I haven't been to Disneyland in quite some time.
You don't recall that?
I don't. I mean, it's possible that I was, and I just don't remember it. But it's a great ride. Everybody loves it. It's one of the rides that has the longest wait time. So the story is that you drive through the original settlement of Radiator Springs, where you see the town's founder, who's Stanley, the steam car, and he's built a lot of different attractions that you're going to kind of, gently ride through. This is not like the part where you're racing. And then you'll get to an actual spot where you are going to go racing through the valley against another car, right? So that's kind of cool. It's parallel tracks, and you're going to reach the speeds of 40 miles per hour, which when you're like looking at them in the cars and their hair is like kind of blowing in the wind, and you're like, oh, wow, how fast is that? It's 40 miles per hour.
Exactly. Like we have a bitty, we have it's called a turnpike. That's, pretty close to us, a big road that is well traveled. And I mean, that the speed limit is 40. So I don't know. Again, I guess it's really about the acceleration and like the angles that you're taking you wouldn't normally take, and the dips and the stuff like that. Right,
yeah, because it's going to be a lot of different things, and the people that you meet and all sorts of things. Now, it is on a track within Disneyland, so I find that very interesting how they do that, make it on a track, and then you have to transfer tracks and all sorts of things. The ride is about 4 minutes and 22 seconds long, and again, like the lines for this ride are like super long, so if you're using your multi-pass and whatnot, you're definitely going to want to make arrangements for that. So at 4 minutes and 22 seconds long, I was like, oh, that seems kind of like a long ride, right? Because there have been rides that are like a minute and a half, and you're kind of like, cool, I waited 2 hours to go on this. So
like, it's like Tron, right? That was always the argument
it's like
with Tron.
So quick.
Yeah.
But then I had got to some researching and realized that, like, you know, that's a good ride length, yes, but Rise of the Resistance is 18 minutes long, and you were saying that's from when you get into the room with Rey.
Yeah, from when you're in there, then you go to the transport ship, and then you go. Now you're on the name of the ship I can't, but you know, now you're with the First Order.
Yes.
And you're on their ship and you get brought into the big thing and you see all the troopers.
So like the physical ride.
Yeah, and then you're held into jail. That's all part of
That's part of the attraction.
Yeah, that's part of the attraction.
So it's considered to be part of the ride. Now, actually, when you're on a ride, right, in a vehicle, over at Disney World, they have the Kilimanjaro Safari, which is 18 minutes and 30 seconds. So that's like you're on a vehicle, and that's to be expected that it's pretty long
and
to go through all of that.
Yes, and that's especially like when we had our past experience, it seemed even longer because our, I'm going to say that our driver took like, an Actifed or something before. Yeah. So, he's like, I took a NyQuil by mistake. And so we're just going to slow things down. I'm going to talk really slowly. And
like you won't be able to really understand my mumbles.
But anyway.
It was still great. But
okay,
speaking of naps minutes on rides, I mean, then I saw that Spaceship Earth was 15 minutes. I was like, that makes sense. We get our quick little 15-minute naparoo in there, even though I love it and love to see it and love all the smells in there. It is one of those rides that really slows down your heart rate, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I've been going all day, and here we are just. Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to sit in this car for 15 minutes and not really understand or care about anything that's happening.
So now we've got the Cars attraction coming on over to Disney World. That was one of their big announcements. Now it's not going to be exactly the same, but there's a lot of things to consider and think about. I mean, this whole Cars area, I guess more like a Pixar area, is going to come and take over Rivers of America and the Tom Sawyer Island area. So it's a huge undertaking because how do you turn all of that water and everything now like into land? And then there's like wetland areas that all need to be revamped, and there's a lot of environmental hurdles that I didn't even think of that they need to navigate with this South Florida Water Management District. Like they've got to put a lot of thought into how they're doing their conservation efforts, right? Because you hear all the time, like, go on the Skyliner and listen to all of the Disney conservation aspirations or what they're doing, right? That's a big part. It's like you have to conserve a certain percentage of all the land of the wetlands to take another certain percentage away. It's just the yin and the yang of it. So it's a lot to consider.
I mean, and obviously they have a ton, Disney has a ton of property in Orlando, and so it kind of, right, you think about it's like a small drop in the bucket of what they're doing, but it's an important drop.
So my big question is, will they make this Cars attraction trackless? Now, the concept art actually doesn't show any tracks throughout it, but that doesn't really mean a lot to me. That just means that they're trying to draw our eye and please us. I mean, maybe there's going to be tracks in there or not.
I think they showed a concept video at D23. It might have been the one in Spain, and we talked about it before. But it was basically like Imagineers driving on, I think they were on like quad cycles at the time.
Yes.
So, I mean, again.
So they're trying to get that feeling of like the springs of a quad cycle, I guess.
I don't know. But it would be hard to make it trackless because it's
it's indoor, outdoor.
Yeah.
And then like, how do you get the speed? I feel like trackless and
maybe it's like partially
speeding.
Indoor trackless somehow, and then it goes on to a track.
I could see that as being a really
especially
real thing.
you're dealing with it, and it's different in Disney World just because of how often it rains and how the trackless rides have a tendency to also break down
a lot.
Yeah, I mean those are what that. usually what's going down in Disney World. It's the trackless ride.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the concern is real that the weather will not cooperate with this kind of ride.
So unless they made some great advancement that they're holding out on us on trackless rides, it just doesn't seem likely they have a fully trackless ride in Disney World that goes outdoors.
You're right. I mean, it's interesting to think about for sure. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of our Cars roundup. I'm excited to see.
But I'd like to see, what did you think of the Cars ride? Now, obviously, we weren't on it, so we didn't get the thrill. We're simply watching a video of it. What did you think of it?
So I was kind of giggling. Like, now we have watched Cars. We've stayed in the Cars suite at Art of Animation. We like Cars. Do we love Cars? Not really, but we like it.
I was like, look, Mater.
So watching the video, I was kind of like, this is underwhelming. Now, the outdoor and the racing, like, I liked seeing that. Like, it's beautiful, the waterfalls and like how they make the Radiator Spring, like the mountains and everything. It's very cool. Pleasing to the eye, but the indoor stuff, like going through the car shop and like meeting these different characters, didn't really do it for me.
The thing with me was, and we've talked about it before, is that Disney is very good at telling a story on a ride.
Yes.
And like every time we were watching a video, we kept going back. We're like, maybe we missed something. Let's try another video.
Yes.
Like maybe they skipped over something.
Yeah. Can we see the queue? Is there something in the queue that we missed?
Yeah. Yes. And it didn't feel like they were setting up the story, especially for like a non-Cars fanatic.
Right.
So that it was like, I'm not really sure exactly what's going on here. There's some cool things and it looks like it could be fun, but it's not really out of the realm of possibility. I also was starting to fall asleep during the beginning of it. Yeah. But she was like, are you sleeping? I was like, I think so.
But it's so funny because I didn't even know you were sleeping. I was just more so commenting that I was going to fall asleep. And like, it's the, early afternoon. Like, we're just, here. Reviewing rides.
Just want to watch this ride.
So, but that being said, it is a super popular ride. So we're missing something.
Everyone says it's the best ride, and like they're like, it's one of the best rides in all of Disney, and that's why we're excited for it to come to Disney World, because obviously we're prejudice against Disneyland. I don't know. We just haven't made it out there.
We just haven't made it out there. We're scared of the flight, honestly.
I mean, not for so much us
and the hour
with the kids.
Yeah, the time change, perhaps. But all that being said, it could be in our future. You know what's got me lately?
I do.
Is the 50% off the cruise deposits that just hit, right?
Like
that, and it's so funny because I understand the concept, right? 50% off the deposit doesn't mean that you're not going to pay the rest of that deposit later, because you owe that, right? Like before your journey. But it's like one of those things where you're just like, but I can afford the deposit now, no problem, But it seizes your mind so good.
Now, it was when I saw her text, she sent me a text the other day, and it was about, again, this is in the middle of like
between all the car mumbo
stuff,
jumbo.
And like I'm sending her like links, and I'm like, how does this one look to you? And and Abbie's very visual, and she needs she wants to see everything.
But I see the things that you don't. Like in a used car, I will see the marker on the seat and the footprint on the ceiling and
it's the things that matter to me. Yeah,
in the back.
It goes vroom, and it has like cool features. So
I'm like, you just make sure that it rides in the snow for me. That's what I say.
So anyway, not to go back on that, it was so I see her text, and it says it's like 50% off Disney Cruise, and I'm like, oh well, that's good. Like that's
it said 50% off Disney Cruise.
Well, no, it did. That's what I read at first. So I was like, oh, that's good, and then I went back to cruise deposits, and I was like, oh, what is she talking? Like, we're buying a car right now. What is she talking about? Cruise deposits? Like, come on. So
I think it's a great deal, only because I think all those people who are so scared to put down like $1,500 for their week-long cruise right up front, then they can decide, okay, now monthly I have to put away X, Y, and Z to pay this off, or you can have your travel agent pay it off month. You're
gonna have to put off more because you're only paying 50% of the deposit.
Yes, that is true, but it just
like Disney
helps.
should at least like just give. Because, right, what is the deposit is how much of the actual cruise? Or what do they require? I
feel like it varies. I think most of the time it's about 20% that they require on the deposit.
So just give a 10% off. Like, it's just, I don't know, Disney, like, just do something for your cruises. You're packing us all in. We get it.
Yeah, I mean,
the treasure looks amazing. I want to go on it. And
I've never seen a, like, kids sail free or anything like that, like that other cruise lines do. But Disney is the... they're kings and queens of the sea when it comes for kids entertainment.
Absolutely, and they
are the only cruise lines that do fireworks. So I mean, that just makes all the difference.
Again, especially as a person that is kind of meh on fireworks in general.
That's not going to sell it for you.
Nope. We do have a travel specialist. I think that's going on a cruise right now, right?
She's on a cruise right now on the Wish.
Yeah, nice. I can't wait to hear
from her.
Back from her. Speaking of things that were long lengths, and again, we're going like a little bit off out of our thing. Just yesterday, we saw Wicked.
We did.
With the girls.
Now that is a Universal Studios film.
It's a Universal Studios thing, but we do talk about Universal Studios, and it is it's in the zeitgeist of all of it. And it's a long movie. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yes. And at that 2 hour mark, these girls were wiggling. Yep.
Yeah.
They were wiggling, but we made it.
They wanted to like get up and do stuff. And even I felt, again, I'm not, it's a musical. It's not like I was there like on the edge of my seat.
Listen,
like,
he was asleep for a good majority.
Some of it. Yeah. There was a little chunk, but I was also like, I'll get up and go to the bathroom. Yeah. I'll go refill our popcorn buckets. It's like, I'll come back and it's still going to be here. There's going to be singing and people doing things. And, yeah. So what did you think of the movie?
Listen, overall, I thought it was good. I thought I was going to be like blown away. And I'm not trying to be like negative because I completely appreciate it. This movie had so much hard work go into it. Yeah. The singers were fantabulous, like so good. Yeah. Everything that was so good. But not every song spoke to me. Like the beginning of it was kind of like, like this song doesn't like mesh. Like I don't know what's going on. Now, of course, the popular songs from the movie, like
the song Popular
or like Defying Gravity, those are the very popular ones. Those really, I mean, everything went together really well and those were really great. But like the Dancing in the Library song and things like that, I was like, I don't know. There's not like any like, I can't sing that on my own. So other than that, like, again, just beautifully done. It was really great. And would I watch it again? I mean, I know that our kids are going to watch it a lot, and I'm so glad that they loved it like that. And we've already listened to the soundtrack today, like twice. But yeah, I wasn't like blown away. Like, whoa, that was an amazing movie. Like Moana too. I was like, I was pretty blown away and into it.
See,
what did you think?
I think the first 2 hours I was kind of like, this is just like a standard. To me, it just felt, it was like, an outcast that comes into it, like a pop, and it's all showing the both sides of it. The popular girl and the outcast. And it seemed very like, any teen movie.
Sure. Yeah.
Sort of thing, just with magic powers and singing. But then it was like, once it started getting to the Emerald City, once spoiler alert, they become friends and then they go off to the Emerald City and now they're going to meet the wizard and all this stuff is happening. Now it was like, the action was finally taking place. And I got invested in that part. And then I knew, like, because I knew about the song Defying Gravity because Bailey had been listening to it prior to all this. I knew that was the big song, the big number in that. And so now it's like having all this stuff in the climax and they're singing that song and the various, and you're waiting for all the marks, and you're like, oh, I think I know what's going to happen, and you're anticipating it. Like I was fully invested at the end of it, and I found that to be very like I was almost like breathless. Like once I found that she got the broom and she took off, and I was like, whoa, like this is like pretty cool. And they got somebody this isn't normally my bag. Like if you guys weren't, I probably wouldn't, even though I would go see a movie every weekend. If I wasn't with you guys, I probably would not go see this movie on my own, but I was fully into it at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. A lot did go down in that last half hour. Yeah. Now, I do have to say the beginning, I was kind of like sitting on the edge of my seat just because the content, I didn't realize it was going to be like that way. And then like our older daughter was just like, well, yeah, the mom was cheating on the dad. And I was like, oh, excuse me?
Yeah, like, how do you know about that? What does that mean to you?
Excuse me? So,
what do you mean cheating on what? Like cheating in like Candyland or something? Yeah. What are you doing?
So that was like kind of a interesting realization that they know more than I think that they know about.
I will tell you,
things.
The part with the monkeys, the flying monkeys, and they kind of show how they become like that's very. Like that was a lot. Yeah, I think, and that's where I think even Bailey was a little
she was not happy with
that, and. Yeah, I mean that was like a lot to handle, and then they were like trying to like. It seems like they're trying to attack them at the end. So there is something if you are taking younger kids to like just beware of that part.
Right,
the flying monkeys are a little terrifying.
Yes.
Yeah, but I guess that's their purpose. Now, I'm interested to see. Like, I've never seen the musical. I don't really know the story or how it interplays. They do show. Our Wizard of Oz cast, right in the beginning, so I want to see how, if like the now, right, because that's the whole thing with Wicked is that in a year from now, this part 2 is going to come out,
right?
Because it's such a long story with all the musical numbers, and I want to see how it intertwine. Is it more intertwined with the story of Wizard of Oz that we know? Is it not? Are there characters? Does Dorothy show up? I have no idea.
Right.
How that plays out. But I'm more invested than I was.
Yeah.
Prior to it. And obviously it was a phenomenon. It was we were looking at buying tickets. I think it was the morning or the night before. And like the shows were like all like only the front rows were available.
Yeah.
And it's been out for a few weeks now.
It's been out for a while. And so we ended up seeing it in like a smaller theater because, they transfer theaters after so many weeks. But I mean, people are still flocking to see it. I actually ran into a coworker like at the theater just randomly, and I was like, oh, hello, are you seeing Wicked? Well, yes, I'm seeing it. So, I think
people are going to see it again or repeating
really?
it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's kind of taken on that role. So it's doing very well.
I thought it was interesting. The preview for Mufasa came on, and Bailey whispered to me, she's like, I want to see that, but at home. I feel like it's going to be too loud. It's like, you got it, girl.
Okay. All right.
But when the Mufasa previews just started to come out, I was not interested. But now I'm interested. The last 2 previews I've seen like in theaters now that the movie's like more developed, I am interested to see it for sure.
Yeah, it could be. I generally am kind of anti-prequels. Just because like I'm like I already know like how their story ends. I know where it's going, but I guess that there is some IP you don't really understand how Mufasa's rise to and what happens to Scar and
I think the story's super interesting already because I didn't realize that like I think what they were saying was Mufasa was actually like not was like a
he was not born into like the royalty of
he was kind of like a drifter or like
something like that.
Whatever.
Yeah, so it looks.
Anyways,
we'll give you our preview or review of Mufasa when it comes to Disney Plus. It seems like so
so you can even give us your review. We can't wait.
Now, one of the things I was going to talk about, but since we brought up Mufasa, was that over in Animal Kingdom. They have a Tree of Life Awakening show. It's the Mufasa Tree of Life Awakenings.
Okay.
And it's like they do like a video preview and they play a song, I think, from Mufasa and it's like a video preview of Mufasa, the story of
in the tree.
Like they project it on the tree.
Got it.
Yeah, so you could see that over in Animal Kingdom.
Okay. That's cool.
And that's playing now in I think it's about roughly around 6 p.m. each evening.
Okay.
It runs about every 10 minutes. So
after 6 p.m.
Yeah. But I mean, Animal Kingdom is only open till 8.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, so now they're doing like extended evening hours in certain places too. I mean, they've been doing them, but like, I think that's great because when you can see Pandora at night or anything really at Animal Kingdom at night, it's like gorgeous. You look confused.
Well, no, I think I mistakenly closed a tab that I did not want to close. So,
Robert, what are you doing over there?
What's the last thing on your list is...
Well, we were going to talk a little bit about Jollywood Nights.
Yeah.
We had mentioned a while back that we had a travel specialist go there, and she actually did not 100% enjoy her experience. Now, saying that she didn't enjoy it is kind of like, I think, not correct because she loved being with her friends there and she had like a good time. But I think all the factors that went into it are kind of what made it kind of for her, and that she wouldn't necessarily go back to it.
And now let's go back just for a second. Just a reminder that this is the second year of Jollywood Nights. Right?
It is the second year of Jollywood Nights.
The first year was kind of controversial. There was a lot of, especially the opening night, there was a lot of mixed reviews of the opening night, which is when they had all the media and press there.
Yeah.
They invited it, and it was like kind of underwhelming. And there was lots of talks about there wasn't enough to do. They said that the experiences weren't like special enough to make it like, why are we paying this money to come here? And I think the food was underwhelming. I watched a video review, and they were kind of like the Tower Hotel. They kind of turn it into this. They have like a bar that opens up, and it's supposed to be like this, this event that you go to. And they were like the cast members were just in regular clothes. Like, why aren't they in the bellman's clothes to go along with the Tower Hotel,
right?
And work there. But he also said that he went in the beginning and then he went at the end. And by the end of this was last year that they had changed everything. Not everything, but they had like heard the gripes, and now like the cast members were now wearing the Bell People's or hotel
as they should
outfits, and things like that. And they said there was a big deal
to go with the theming too.
There was a big deal with the check-in was like kind of problematic. It took a really long time, and they had kind of somewhat figured it out.
Okay.
But then you also kind of feel like, and this again was the point he brought up, is like they've been doing these closed events at Magic Kingdom for these parties for years now, and they're successful and everyone loves them, and they go, so it's like, why is Hollywood Studios having a difficult time putting on an after hours event?
I know.
It just doesn't make any sense, especially when they have so many things. There's like Toy Story, there's Star Wars, there's all these things that they could use.
Right.
And like, they're not.
And I wonder a lot too if it has to do with like where they have events placed. And one of the comments was that like you're walking miles to get from event to event, not truly miles, but you are walking far ways.
I get that.
And things are only at certain times, so then you're kind of, do I do a ride? Do I do an event? Like, what do I do? So there's a lot of back and forth about what they should do.
So now with us laying like kind of like the track of that, what was Nicole's take?
So I think that her night didn't start out all that great. Now it got very cold in Disney World, so they had to change their whole outfits, and which kind of
would have gotten to the 50s.
Yeah, something like that. So they like wore sweats, matching sweats, and so that really puts a bunch of people on Girls Weekend trying to dress nice and stuff that like just put them on edge. They were disappointed.
It is December,
and so they had made reservations over at the Brown Derby so that they could listen to the music, and they knew that there was like light bites. They misunderstood that you could only have light bites at the Brown Derby. There was no full menu there. So once they had readjusted their expectations, they said, okay, so let's have the light bites menu. And the only gluten-free option on the menu was shrimp cocktail, which is not something that our gluten-free friend eats.
Yeah.
So this was just like not going well. She asked the waitress if perhaps she can just get a gluten-free roll because they're starving. They thought they were going to get this like big dinner, saved all their, calories for a nice fun dinner. Yeah. And the waitress unfortunately said, nope, I can only give you stuff that's on the menu. So she was not totally thrilled. That really stunk, because you make reservations for this to be there. You're still paying for that light bites and then you can't eat anything.
This is the menu at Brown Derby. I got jazz. It's because it's the jazzy holidays, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they do. And so they have a jazz band that's playing. Yeah. And it's supposed to be like a good time. Like it's chorizo arancini.
Okay. So no, I wouldn't do that.
Hamachi crudo.
I don't even know what that is.
Jazzy holiday slider. I got pork belly bao.
Oh.
Tofu bao.
Okay.
Shrimp cocktail, the aforementioned shrimp cocktail.
Right.
Sticky chicken wings and charcuterie.
Huh.
Yeah, now it looks like the majority of those items are all about like $14 to $17 each.
Yeah.
And they're light bites, right? It's like even like the shrimp cocktail was 3 shrimp for $13, or
That's
$16.
Not gonna fill you up.
It's kind of crazy.
But I think it's in the effort to keep people turning in and out, right? They're like, we'll give you 3 shrimp cocktail and now leaves because our musicians need to restart their.
Yeah. No, I get it. And it just seems, it's kind of weird though. I mean, I think they should just have it'd make it a better experience if they just had like the full menu and like you felt like you were going.
It would be like a fancy dining experience.
And it's like you're also taking this. If you're going to do this, you're deciding to do it. It's going to take away time from you visiting the park,
other places.
But it's also going to make it's going to take people out of the crowd, and lines are going to be a little bit shorter because people are like, I'd rather just sit here and listen to jazz music and drink a cocktail.
So now you've got 3 hangry women released into the park, and they have to decide what they want to do. They've only got, I feel like this is one of the shorter parties because it goes till, they said 1 a.m., but really I saw that it was 12:30. So I don't know. There's a little, I think on some nights it might go to 1 and some nights it might close a little bit earlier. So they've already done their one experience and now they're like, well, should we do a ride? And they're trying to go on rides, and that's fine. The wait times were really small, but then they also wanted to do experiences because they purchased this experience ticket. They didn't make it to the experiences they wanted to. Like they didn't see Miss Piggy's I forgot what it's called, but the entertainment that Miss Piggy puts on, the Disney Holidays and Hollywood show, and a couple of other things, just because those were a little bit packed, and so they decided to go later, and then they would miss it, and so all of that took a lot of time. She felt like all of the walking took a lot of time, and this is somebody who absolutely loves the parties, loved the candlelight vigil, loved the Halloween party at Magic Kingdom. So I was surprised to hear that she did not love this experience. Now, at the end of the night, it's about 12:15, and they're like, okay, let's get to Tower of Terror. We really, really wanted to do that one ride, and we've been waiting, and we skipped Miss Piggy's because we really want to go on this ride. They get there, and they're just like, no, sorry, we're closed. And they're like, but it's 12:15. You're open till 1 a.m. And they're like, yep, we close at 12:15. And no sympathy, you can be the last one. It's just like, we're closed, we're done. And that's 45 minutes early. That's not what's advertised at all.
And I'm sure there's probably fine print somewhere that says rides can
somewhere, but not. Yeah, it's not.
It's just
known, and so that was like a huge bummer. You start off your night kind of crappy, and end your night kind of crappy. And this was like the big ride that they kept waiting for to go on, and then they missed it.
And so it seems like it's Disney's Holidays in Hollywood, hosted by Miss Piggy and Kermit. It's at the Theater of the Stars in Sunset Boulevard. And it's like a variety show and has a bunch of Disney characters in it. There's a 30-minute show that runs from 8:15. It runs at 8:15, 9:15, 11:15, and 12:15.
So they missed all of them.
They missed all of them.
Yeah.
And it's a 30-minute show, and that's like a long show, right?
Yeah.
Like for like a closed event. So
but
it's like,
even if you think of like the candlelight vigils and things like that, they have a lot more, I feel like, timings. They have a lot of timings for that. And
gotcha.
So it's surprising.
Right.
So I think that they still don't have their stuff together.
Now it seems like though. So we watched another review, and this is from this guy. His name's Tom. He does Tom's Honest Review. It's on part of the WDWNT.com, and it seems like he lives in the area, so he goes there quite often. He went twice last year. He said the second time
to Jollywood Nights. Yeah,
to Jollywood Nights, and he went again this year, and he said he liked it. Like he enjoyed going.
Okay.
He really, liked it. He seems like he wasn't dealing with any dietary issues or restrictions, so he was able to like kind of enjoy that. And he said that he seemed like he enjoyed the experiences, the photo ops. So, like, maybe it's not like widely, universally loved, right? Or universally enjoyed for everyone, but it seems like there is something there for you. It's also, from what I could see, is like I can't see kids going to this and enjoying it.
No, this is not really a kids.
Yeah, you should not
event.
be taking your kid. You should be going to the Very Merry Christmas Party.
Right.
But yeah, it doesn't seem like kids would enjoy any of this stuff, even though, I mean, it's Miss Piggy and things, but, Disney characters, it seems like it's not really geared towards them, even though it's more like the big kids, all of us, and they're supposed to go see it.
Yeah, I know. Well,
so I mean, I'm guessing they're going to bring it back next year. It doesn't seem like it was like universally loathed.
But it's not like, I mean, people are paying to go, so
yeah, and those tickets were like what, like $179, I think, to get in. Still, it's still crazy expensive, and lots of photo ops, they said, and things. There's a fireworks show at the end of the night. Abbie loves fireworks.
Yeah, but there's not like parades or anything.
No, it's
which I think is just like that's shows, a huge draw for the other nighttime shows. Anyways, we had some clients this past week enjoying Christmas experiences over at the parks, and they used the Premier Pass. It was phenomenal for them. They said they never waited for anything, only 10 minutes for Tron on Magic and Magic
and just
Kingdom.
As a reminder, that's the pass that you pay a pretty hefty amount, and it allows you to
$400 per person range.
It allows you to walk on any ride. You don't have to book it in advance. You just go there, you scan your wristband, and you go into the lightning lane.
Yep.
And they were able to do it. It's also December, middle December is kind of like everyone's in school, so it's just like locals and people that decided to take to take their kids out a little early, which is cool. It's a good times, but they were able to do that and get on like every ride.
Yeah, they got on everything that they wanted to go on. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Now they did experience over at Epcot, and this is something I'm debating with myself. Now, listen, I always tell people like we've got kind of half of the circle we're going to focus on, because we don't need to go around to the world if we don't want to, right? Especially with kids. Like, you want to? Great.
Yep.
But don't kill yourself. So you can either start at Remy's and go down up to Frozen, or go Frozen and up to Remy's. Yep. Now it's a gamble, and like you have to know your clients.
You're doing a smile.
Yeah.
You're doing a smile around the world.
Yeah, it's a gamble, and you have to know your clients and like what they're willing to do. Now I had them
Okay.
And I'm kind of like, was that the right choice? Because of course by 10:30, somewhere around there, Frozen Fast Pass, I still call it Fast Pass, sold out.
No.
So now I'm like, oh no, like that really stinks. But I think I still stand with my decision to do that because they did do Frozen. Okay. And I said, listen, I think the Frozen line is just like so much better to stand in than the Remy's line. Not that the Remy's line is bad. Like it's nice and you have some you details. Also, but the Frozen line is like, once you get into the kind of great room, I feel like you have more room to spread out. Like, listen, I've seen like our kids like do flailing arms and everything and like touch nobody. And it's like kind of romantic to see. So they didn't have any problems with that line and it was okay. Also, there is like a resting area over there. Like if you, if you have some issues and somebody needs to go like take a break and sit, there's like the cafe right there, right? You tell somebody that you're going and you can sit in the cafe. No, that didn't happen. I'm just saying that this is a good setup if you do need that. And the cafe outdoors is covered, so even if it were to rain or any inclement weather, you are covered. Whereas over at Remy's, there is not a lot of covered space over there. You are in the elements. So yeah. And
a lot of that queue can be outside too if you're just in a standby. Yeah.
So anywho, everybody made it and they were happy. Good. But I always question which one is worth it. Like, are they?
Yeah. Which way are you going to start? Because it's either end of the smile, the semicircle, or kind of the two more popular rides. Yeah, and Remy's is newer, but Frozen is very popular.
Oh yeah.
I think Remy's, to me, in my mind, is a better ride. So I want to go on that first.
Yeah.
And then maybe get the Frozen because it's,
and I do feel like Remy's line for some reason is always longer, even though Frozen, so it was a 60-minute wait, but she said it was only 30, even though they said 60.
Oh, yeah. See, that's what I said. There was our friend, it all started with a mouse. I saw her, she was doing that at Hogwarts. It was like a 60-minute wait and it ended up really only being like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
They said 60 minutes.
Now, it's so funny because I did that too for Toy Story when we were there over the summer. And I was like, okay, it's going to be a 60-minute late. And I was like, I'm going to time it. It's going to be less. It wasn't less. It was exactly like 59 minutes. And
we never get that one, right? Oh. Yeah. Never happens for us.
No.
But the big doing that's happening over in Disney World is the new Polynesian Island Tower. The DVZ Island Tower is opening this week.
Yes, it is. It's looking good. And they have some new eats over there too, right?
They do, yeah. Yeah, they do have it's called the, I don't have it up here.
It's like a wahila.
Yes, something bar, or I think, is it just a bar or is it a restaurant?
Man, we should know this.
Great travel agents. Anyway, this looks amazing. I was just looking at like the lobby itself. Looks like it's very open, very fun, very traditional, like island aesthetics. It's all like, seashells and
beautiful
manta rays, and is big, and lots of places where you could go and hang out, lots of big windows, so there's lots of light coming in. That's just the lobby alone. Then I went and saw I don't know if you looked at it, let me see what they're referring to it as, the 2-bedroom penthouse suite at the Polynesian Tower.
I'll take 2 of those.
Yeah, right? A penthouse suite. How do you like that? So you have 2 bedrooms, there's 3 bathrooms, it has a pull-out couch that, you pull out from the couch, hence the name. How'd they figure that one out? It has a queen-size pull-out bed. I mean, just ginormous amounts of room. I mean, you could play like a hockey game in this, like, the amount of floor room that you have in here. Huge TVs and tables, and then the views are gorgeous. Now there's a choice of, you can get either the it says preferred view, which has a views of the pool or fairway, and starts at, because again, this is a DVC property, so it starts at 86 points per night. No idea what that means.
And of course it can change. Like 86 points to some is like, okay, I get that.
It says it starts at 86.
It starts at 86, but the pricing it's time dependent.
The other option is the theme park view, and this what the penthouse had, and that starts at 108 per night, and that gives you a view. You could see Magic Kingdom and the Seven Seas Lagoon, and that's like the view that you want.
Interesting.
That's like a gorgeous, it's 3 balconies. You could go out there and just sit out there all day. I'm just paying my points because I don't really know what those mean. They don't mean anything. They're just points. So.
You have a balcony. That's nice.
3 balconies.
Well, I mean.
Big, huge bathroom. Yeah, 3 balconies. I also saw the up on the 5th floor is the garden. I forget what they're calling it. It's like this. It's supposed to be this garden that you go and you could sit and it's up on the 5th floor and it overlooks the water, overlooks the Seven Seas Lagoon. It's just like gorgeous. Like
so they're going to have some sort of like amazing fireworks show.
Like the garden terrace and
with the music pumping in. I love it. That's fantastic.
So that's the big doing over there. Now they had there was a release of a state inspection of the Disney monorail system.
I actually read all of that. Yeah.
You see that? So this has all happened in 2023, but they're just releasing it now. And I guess a lot of it was redacted.
Yes. For not safety, but safety reasons.
Yeah. Right? I forget exactly. I don't know exactly why, but basically you're safe to drive. You're safe to ride the monorail. Yeah, they didn't find anything. They had like the pictures in there of like the guys scuba diving to look at the monorail underwater. And they're like measuring cracks of the big pillars that hold up the monorail, and nothing was out. They didn't deem any. It never closed down, so we don't know about it. So I guess they're going to do that every 2 years.
Okay.
Which it just seems almost, there's people in scuba divers. But, safety first, right? Safety first. I think it's interesting to me that it came about just because of, Ron DeSantis. Yeah. Exactly. But I guess it's good overall because we're just knowing that the facility is good. Have the checks They're good with what they need to be good with. Gotta have the checks and balances. Now, kind of going back to a little bit of the entertainment side of it, over in Disney Plus in 2022, there was a short-lived series that was like a sequel to a movie called Willow. The series was also called Willow, if you can imagine that, and it didn't run very long. It lasted like 1 season and they decided to cancel it. And so now they're just the star of Willow. His name's Warwick Davis. He's kind of speaking out and just saying that, people, they care more about the shareholders than they do the fans or people that are actually watching it. They actually have removed the show from Disney Plus. You can't even watch the first season. It's like not even there anymore. And he's like, I've only watched the show once. I don't know when I'll be able to watch it again. Right. Like, where did it go? Aww. Yeah. But so they're kind of upset about that. And I was like, I can't. They ended the article that I read is like, will Willow ever return? I was like, I can't imagine that it ever will, because Warwick Davis, such an old movie, is getting up there in age, and Val Kilmer and all that stuff. And there's really no appeal. People love fantasy shows. They always come back. But I don't know if we're ever going to see Willow again. What else do we have? Kelly River Rapids is getting ready to close. It has its yearly annual refurbishment. That makes sense. Which is happening time of year. Yeah, it's happening on January 5th. That's the last day of operations. All right. It typically is closed for about a month, but they don't really give a firm reopening date. Right. Yeah. So if you're heading to the parks, if you're heading to Animal Kingdom, that's going to close a ride that's pretty popular, and it kind of, you're going to feel that. January is usually a low month. It's not a huge except for Martin Luther King Jr. weekend.
Yes, that's a big one.
But so if you're going to Animal Kingdom, kind of expect to feel that the impact on the other rides, right? It's gonna be there, and you're not gonna be able to go cool down. I love Cali River Rapids. I think the ride itself is too short for me. Like I'm always like, because it has like the one big drop, and then the rest of it's just kind of like things are spurting at you. I'd like to I like more wetness or like like another little drop or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm good. I sat it out last year, didn't I? Which usually I don't. I like to do everything with the kids.
She's like, I'll be with the baby.
Yeah. Was I with a baby?
Well, I mean, you were with Dean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was 4.
Sleeping. Got it.
But we call him the baby. Yeah.
He's our baby, I guess.
Yeah, it was just me and the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, that's right. You had all of them.
Yeah, I had all of them. Exactly.
Oh, that's hysterical.
I'm a giant kid anyway. Jollywood Nights we covered. That was about it for Disney. There were a couple things over in Universal. This is like a kind of a strange one. Poppy's Playground, right? This is part of the DreamWorks land
area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's already like closed down for refurbishment. Now it just opened in May.
What?
I don't know. I guess they closed Shrek Swamp for Little Ogres was closed for a few weeks. They had to have safety railings, and I guess this is like they're shoring up. It's very small. It's just like a giant mushroom, and then there's like some like play things you could climb into and over and stuff. There's not really a ton of room. I mean, not a lot of square footage there for you to run around, and they've already like are closing it down for a few weeks to readjust some things. So I don't know.
Yikes.
I found that pretty interesting. There's like a new pharma box retail thing over in Universal. You could like go there. It sells over-the-counter pharmaceuticals and personal care products. And you could go and put your credit card into that and get some aspirin, which I guess they don't have Universal doesn't have the same first aid that Disney does, right? Because like we said, we've gone when we went to Disney World and Abbie had like a bite of something and it looked like it was getting red. So we went over the first aid spot and they
patched me up
and
sent me back out
there.
They
gave you something and they sent you on your way and it was nice and they gave you exactly what you needed. It was like some topical ointment and you were good. But I guess over in Universal, they're like, you got to buy your stuff. Like, we'll send you this pharma box. It kind of looks like a red box.
Oh, that's nice.
Type of thing with like a video screen, and you like pick out your thing. So that was Universal. I mean, they're doing their own holiday thing. Anyway, so now that you had to hear all of us talk and me ramble on about the news for a little bit, we're gonna get to the secret word. We're celebrating, dun, dun, dun. We're gearing up for our 100th episode.
That's right. And we've been doing this for so long.
Which is crazy because, we're super busy. But we do love Disney. We love talking to each other and talking to you guys. So we're here to celebrate it. We want to give one lucky listener a chance to win a $100 Disney gift card.
Woohoo!
We're going to be doing that with, we're using a platform called Sweep Widget.
Okay.
That I have set up. And you're going to have to go and use I set up this whole thing. It's going to be on our website. Mm-hmm. So you're going to go to familytravelplanner.com.
Okay.
Right. And what you're going to do, you're going to find the section that says contest. I haven't named it yet because anyway, but you'll see it on there. It's going to be on our homepage and there'll also be a tab on the top. It's going to be in there. You're going to interact with it. What you have to do is of course, we need a little bit of we already have your patronage. You're listening to us. You have to follow us on 3 different social medias, and then you can enter in a secret word.
That's right.
Yes. So, you're going to have to enter all 3, and it enters you a chance to win the gift card. There's a whole bunch of terms and conditions. AI wrote them. It wasn't me. Yeah. So the first word that you're going to have to enter, and this is for episode 98, it has to be entered into this one exactly, It's a word that means a lot to me.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Drum roll.
The secret word for episode 98 is PhilharMagic. And you have to spell it exactly. So go look it up on the Disney website if you don't know how to spell for Mickey's PhilharMagic. It's just PhilharMagic. So that's secret word 1. Next week we're going to be revealing the secret word for episode 99.
That's right.
I think next week expect an episode that's going to be, I'm thinking very Christmassy, right? Because
we'll talk all Christmas.
It's going to be the last weekend before Christmas. I mean, we talk about Jollywood Nights, but we're going to do something nice and fun. We did movies last year. Maybe we'll talk more about movies. Who knows? We don't think about the episodes till 10 minutes before we record.
Not true, but true.
That's not true. That's not true.
All that being said, we're so excited. We have enjoyed having you here. We've enjoyed talking off your ear. And we will see you next week for episode 99.
This has been a Family Travel Planner production.